This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत, झूमेगा भारत.
ये है भारत FM.
बजेगा भारत, झूमेगा भारत.
Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, welcome and adab. You are listening to Bharat FM, a one-of-its-kind, multilingual, eclectic provider of entertainment, information and news to Indian Americans. Headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio, Bharat FM airs shows out of Cincinnati, Chicago and Phoenix. We take pleasure in our ability to cater to your bhakti, chusti, sphurti, shakti and masti needs with our audio and visual shows. Check out bharatfm.com for our online program schedule and archives. I'm sure the content will definitely tickle your senses. Tune in via the 24-hour web streaming on bharatfm.com or via the Bharat FM app. More information can be procured at 513-488-5070.
तो नमस्कार, आदाब, सत श्री अकाल, वड़क्कम, वेलकम आप सभी का भारत एफएम के इस कार्यक्रम में जिसका के नाम है रूबरू में तहे दिल से स्वागत है और मैं हूं आपका दोस्त और आपका होस्ट आशीष झा। तो दोस्तों, आज रूबरू में हम जिनसे रूबरू हो रहे हैं उनका नाम है विद्या मुरलीधर. So let me tell you a little bit about Vidya. So Vidya is an author, an essayist and a teacher who lives in Charlotte, North Carolina with her family. Having grown up in Mumbai, India, where she's from, her writing carries the flavor of her homeland and she hopes the seasoning in it will tickle the heartstrings of her readers just as much as the spices from a curry do. Her work has appeared in Chicken Soup for the Soul, Mothers Always Right, Grown and Flown, Life Positive, Saathee, India Currents and other places. She conducts bi-monthly creative writing workshops for children ages 10 to 12, monthly workshops for kids ages 13 through 16, and teaches high school seniors the nuances of personal essay writing. When she's not writing or teaching, she enjoys going on walks with her dog, Leo, practicing yoga and meditation, baking with her kids, dancing and volunteering with Ekam USA. Shakthi Corp and Love for the Elders. Those are the organizations that she's associated with. A self-confessed energy junkie, she devours books and podcasts on energy healing and hopes to become a meditation teacher someday. So let's welcome Vidya Murlidhar. Good morning, Vidya.
Good morning. Thank you, Ashish, for having me here. I'm super excited. Thank you.
And we are also thankful for coming on our show. There is some echo. I don't know why it starts.
It's okay. Is it okay for? It's okay for me, Ashish. I can't. Is it on my side? No, I don't hear any echo.
Oh, let me check something. Hold on. Yeah, this is fine. I'm not sure. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We'll manage the echo. That's not a problem. I don't know why suddenly it started. Sometimes technology gives you surprises. But now it is fine, actually. Now I don't hear the echo. So whatever. So let's start with our session, Rubaru. And as you already know, that this session is all about you and about your life story in your own words. And the way we start with this session is we start right from your childhood days, right from your birth, to be very honest, actually. Tell us a little bit about where you were born and how was your childhood like?
Well, I think I had one of the most loveliest, it was lovely, Ashish. Very hard for me to find any flaws in my childhood. I grew up in Borivali, Mumbai, and at that time, Borivali was a smaller place on the outskirts of Mumbai, not anymore. It's a big, bustling suburb right now. But it was a very diverse and cosmopolitan place. I grew up in the colony was called LIC, and we had, I guess it was so diverse. People from all over India, all religions, all cultures, and also everybody. It was a middle class neighborhood, and we had people living in one bedroom homes to people living in three bedroom homes, and it didn't matter at all. We played with everybody, we talked to everybody, we celebrated with everybody, every function, you know.
Right. Right.
So school, I went to a girls school called Mary Immaculate Girls High School. It was a convent, and I think there's been a remarkable impression of the teachers there too, Ashish. Um, I think when I teach today, I have so many of them in front of me because I used to idolize them. I never thought I would be a teacher, actually, honestly. But my mom's a teacher, my aunts are teachers, and these teachers in school, they had created such a big impression. Because when you teach, I think it's not just the subject, you're teaching your essence is being passed on
Right.
to the
Right.
child, right?
Right.
So you're teaching the child a lot more about the world than just academics, and I think that is so powerful.
Right.
So when
So,
people tell me today that I can connect with kids and they enjoy when I teach, I think a lot of the kudos goes to my own teachers, my mom, and my aunts.
and of course, I mean, as you mentioned, that you are what you are based on the people who have influenced
Yeah,
you, right? So
yeah,
it always matters what kind of people come in your life. They shape up your life accordingly. Uh,
yes.
so, so tell me one thing. You grew up in Borivali, as you mentioned, in Mumbai,
Mhm.
and you went to this school, convent school, girls only school. So,
Mhm.
as a child, what kind of kid you were? Like only into studies, or were there some kind of other extracurricular that you were involved with? What kind of kid was Vidya?
I think I was a very fun-loving kid, Ashish. I mean, academics was not a problem. It came to me easily. And I was a very sincere child when it came to doing my homework.
There
But
was no
because I had,
naughtiness involved at all. You were not naughty at all.
I don't think so. I mean, I used to like having fun, but I never really, I don't think I was naughty, naughty. But
Okay.
because of this huge friend circle that I grew up with, I think it was a very good balance, Ashish, of studying as well as playing, going out. I love dancing, so I
Oh,
started dancing at the age of 4. Dance was a very big part of my growing up. And also, I think I wrote my first poem when I was 6.
oh wow.
Uh,
Okay.
but I don't, I mean, growing up, these were things that I just enjoyed doing. Never
Okay.
really thought of it as a career or anything like that.
Right. Right. So, what form of dance did you learn?
I learned Bharatnatyam.
Bharatnatyam. Okay. So, do you still have that poem that you wrote at the age of 6?
No, I don't, Ashish. I wish I did, but I don't. We
Okay.
didn't have phone. I don't know. Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
But I
So,
do remember, I'm sorry,
no,
I
go
didn't
ahead.
mean to cut you. I just
Go.
do remember that it was about something about stars.
Oh, I see.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Oh, it will be wonderful if you can find that and then be able to share with us. I mean, not right now, maybe later sometime.
sure.
So,
And I think that's a project for my parents then to be able to go back and find it.
right, right. So, when you were at school, as you mentioned, that a lot of people influenced your life. Do you remember any specific teacher who has influenced you so much? Like I know there are, I mean, each one of them are critical for you to shape up in what personality you develop. But sometimes it does happen. There is that one teacher who changes your life
Yeah,
completely. Did you have someone like that at that
not
point?
not really, Ashish. I think I looked up to all of them. I think we were just very fortunate to have. I think all our teachers were exceptional. So I don't think they were also sincere and so good at what they did and so loving, you know,
Hmm. Right,
strict
right.
and loving. So I don't think I can think of just one teacher who made a difference. They all did. They all
Okay.
did.
Okay. So you said you wrote your first poem at the age of 6. Now, was there some influence within your family, friends, or somebody whom you looked at and then you thought, okay, let me write a poem, or is it something that just came naturally to
No,
you?
it just came naturally, Ashish. It just
Wow.
came naturally. Until
Okay.
recently, I didn't even realize, that I don't know that it's a gift. I didn't realize it, but it's something. I think writing is the way I discover myself, express myself, connect with the world. Um,
Right.
I mean, I understand it now, but not then. It was just
Okay.
something I felt like writing. I would write. That's all.
Okay. Okay. So, growing up, every child has dream, and that dream keeps changing every now and then. What
Yeah.
kind of dreams did you have when you were growing up?
I think for the longest time, Ashish, I wanted to be a doctor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I see there was absolutely no pressure from anybody in the family. I have an uncle who's a doctor. I have a cousin who's a doctor who is a doctor, and I mean we did have doctors in the family, but not that my parents or anybody ever suggested. But it was something I just thought, that I'm good at studies, I'm good at science and math. Maybe I can become a doctor. You know.
Okay. All
Um,
right.
but yeah, and it was pretty strong until I didn't think of anything else, Ashish. It was okay. I want to be a doctor.
Doctor,
Um,
that's it. So
that's
that
what
was
I
your
did.
one dream that you were always reaching out
Yeah,
for. Okay.
yeah,
So I mean, India, that's what happens. So you are in 10th grade, you are very sure you want to get into science, I'm assuming,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So, so you got into, so did you do your college as well at the same school? Some schools have college,
No, no.
junior college as
So
well.
I was in my school until the 10th. Then 11th and 12th I did in another college, and then I then moved on to pharmacy for 4 years.
Oh, okay. So let me come to that. So your 11th and 12th you did from another college in Mumbai itself, I'm assuming.
Yes, in Mumbai itself.
Okay. And that was science, obviously, because you wanted to get into medicine.
I
Uh,
did.
and then when you were in your 12th grade, then comes the time where you have to choose your professional career, kind of, right? At that point. So
Correct.
tell us a little bit about your journey of trying to become a doctor and then getting into pharmacy, a little bit about that.
It was pretty simple, Ashish. Like I didn't get I one thing I knew is I didn't want to go out of Bombay to study medicine. So maybe retrospectively, I think that desire was not strong enough because it was conditional, right? ये college में मिलेगा तो
मैं तो
करूँगी.
ही
But
जाऊंगी,
not,
हाँ.
so, but at that time, I knew I didn't want to go out of Bombay. I got 93% or something, but that was not enough to
You
get
know,
into the top 4 colleges in Bombay.
that is true.
So I thought कि ठीक है, next best क्या करना है pharmacy. So I joined pharmacy.
Okay,
So
okay. You
that's how.
wanted to stick with medicine, that was for sure. And you were,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I still today, I think I'm very fascinated with biology. So
Hmm.
I like it. I like it. So that's what I thought. And I never even thought that I could have taken arts and done something else, because
Hmm.
agar marks hai, to you do science, right? That's
Yes,
how it
yes.
was when we grew up. A very false and a very wrong notion. And not that it was taught, but nobody even suggested anything, but I just thought I had to, you know.
Okay,
I,
okay.
I don't know why.
So a couple of questions come to my mind.
Mhm.
When did you realize that you can do something with writing? Was it at a very later stage in life?
Yes, Ashish,
Then
much
let's talk about
later.
it. No, yeah, let's talk about it when we get there. Okay.
Sure.
For now, tell me one thing. I'm very curious to know. You mentioned that you were in a girls only school, right?
Yes,
How
yes.
was your 11th, 12th? I'm assuming that was a co-ed, right?
That
Uh,
was a co-ed. Yes.
so tell me a little bit about the first day of your college that you're getting in there and you see these boys all around and a different kind of environment, basically what you have lived with in your first 10 years,
Yeah.
right? At
But
school.
but Ashish, I think it was not too bad. I mean, I used to be a little nervous to talk to boys in college because I don't know them. But because in the colony there were so many, right? Like
Correct.
so many neighbors and um, whom we used to play with, whom we used to talk to. So it was not a very foreign
To you.
concept, but
Mhm.
yeah, but it was different. It was
Yes.
definitely a different kind of fun. But again, in college, that 11th and 12th, I had this big group of girls and we had a lot of fun. So I guess it just happened. And pharmacy, again, it was a girls' college. I just did it in SNDT. So it
Oh,
was a girls' college. Yeah.
okay. Your friend Shweta Dholakia is tuned in and she's asking you to talk about your gang at college.
Oh, okay. So we had a lot of fun. Okay. And in fun, I would say it was a very naive innocent fun. Like at that age, for us, because we were all studious. Okay, so to bunk lectures and go for a movie, that was considered like naughty.
Gives you a big
Now
eye.
I know. Now I know that that is not really naughty, but at that age it was. And so we used to bunk, and we had a lot of sleep. We used to go to a lot of places, and the fondest memories are standing outside college and eating vada pav and sandwich.
Of course, of course. And yeah, I miss those days for sure. Yeah, that's the best part.
And I'm still in touch with all of them, Ashish, and
Very nice.
I cannot thank them enough. Like my friends from school, my friends from Parla College, from Pharmacy College, they are my biggest supporters. I think I have a very big cheerleading squad, and they are my wings. The wind beneath my wings, I would say. Yeah, and I'm so grateful. And Shweta, thank you for tuning in. Shweta is like, I call her my fierce friend. Because I know that she will always be there.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, a couple of your friends are tuned in. I can tell you that Prajakta Kole is also there.
She's also from the pharmacy college. So
Okay.
we're all different places of the world right now, but
But you
thanks
still.
to Facebook. Yeah,
And
and
yeah,
WhatsApp.
I was about to say, thanks to social media, that it has connected people back again with whom, like in my case as well, it's the same thing. I had lost connection with a couple of my friends, but thanks to this social media, I mean, all are back in my life, and
Yeah.
I'm not regretting at all. I mean, I'm very happy about that. All right. So so when you were at your pharmacy college and you completed your course in pharmacy,
Mhm.
was there someone over there, a professor over there, who influenced you at that point, and you thought of making your career in pharmacy at that point?
No, actually, you know what happened, Ashish? I joined pharmacy thinking that it's the next best option to medicine, but I think I survived the 4 years again only because of my friends. We used to do a lot of group studying. It was not that it was difficult. It was not difficult. I just didn't enjoy it. When your heart is not in it.
It's not there, yeah.
Yeah. So I completely relied on this fantastic group of 30 girls
Okay.
to
30.
help me. Yeah,
Zero.
in one class. I think maybe I might get it wrong, but less than that. I'm sorry. But it was not more than that. But yeah, so they again, because it was, I didn't really, I knew that it was not for me.
Uh-huh.
Not that it was tough, but I was
You
somehow,
know.
you feel that you don't fit into this. But
So,
I didn't have the guts to quit. I
okay.
did.
Oh, I
So
see. You didn't have the guts to
no,
quit.
no, I
Because
didn't.
that was my
I
next.
wanted to finish it. I wanted to finish it. And again, teachers were very good, but I survived because of these friends and group studying, sharing notes, and those kind of things. Never
Okay.
cheating, but
Okay.
yeah, they helped. They kind of, I rode the wave along with them, and that's how
So you
I.
mentioned you didn't have the guts to quit and try something else at that point in time. But today, when you look back, do you think that would have been a good choice to make at that point?
I don't know how it would have turned out, Ashish, but I know I knew it now. At that time I used to think that quitting means you're not brave enough to finish something. Now I know that quitting is actually the thing that makes you brave. Knowing
Ex-
that you don't want something, um,
Exactly.
and saying I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
saying no is not easy. Not everybody
it's
does that.
not easy.
It's a
I
brave thing.
know that now. If I was the same person that I am now, I would have probably quit and
Done
done
that.
something I like, but I wasn't. I didn't have the understanding, right?
Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
So here is Vidya, who is completing her 4 year course in pharmacy, and is not actually interested in pharmacy. So what does she do after the graduation, after she's having a degree?
I worked for with a couple of pharma companies, Ashish. I did because that was again the next progression, right?
Right, right.
Natural progression towards that,
Good. Yeah.
and then of course I got married,
Uh-huh.
um, and of course I did want to get married. Not that I didn't, but at that time also it seemed like an escape from the drudgery of being, going to that 9 to 5 job and being there. It was like something exciting, something new to look forward to.
So-
And when I came to the US, because I had the degree and I had a little experience, I did talk to a few pharmacists, and they all told me that it's not easy. Not that it's, the hours are extremely long
Hmm.
and very rigorous. And at that point of time, I didn't know my husband at all, Ashish. It's like we barely knew each other. So that was important for me to get that, to have the basis for that rather than the career.
Right.
And then I had my daughter, and somehow when I had my child, it was like, nothing matters more than this
Right. That
right
is
now.
true.
And being in a new place, you don't have the extended support that you do in India. Mm, I always knew that I didn't want to leave my kids in daycare
Okay. Okay.
somehow, because I don't know. I think those are such beautiful moments.
Those are
Not
those.
that it's wrong. I know a lot of women do it, and I'm not saying it's wrong. But for me, I think I would have been miserable. I'm not a good multitasker, Ashish. I cannot do too many things at the same time. So
See,
I would have been torn, between this and that. And when I worked in the pharma industry, I did see the mothers when they came every morning. Their heart is at home,
home. Yeah.
with the child. And I'm fortunate that my husband was, he was well established. Sometimes you don't have a choice, you
Choice.
have
Yeah.
to go to work.
Obviously.
You
Correct.
have to go to work. But he made me comfortable, and he never said you have to. So I think I
That's
just enjoyed the first few years with my kids.
okay. So I'm assuming that at no point you missed working in a pharmaceutical industry, right? Okay. Okay. All right. So basically, here is Vidya in the US. Tell us a little bit about your experience of leaving everything. Like you always lived in Mumbai, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So leaving Mumbai and coming to the US, how was that feeling? How was that experience? How did you feel?
I don't know, Ashish. I think when you're doing something completely new, you don't know what to expect, right? You take it as it comes.
Right. Right.
So I
So
think
that
that's what
kind
it
of
was.
person where you actually let things happen instead of planning too much and
I don't plan too much. Yes,
okay.
Ashish, I don't plan to. I'm not very good at planning long term.
Okay.
And somehow I don't know, my husband is like that too. And for both of us, when we plan something, like if we say, okay, we're going to Hawaii this December, it somehow never works out. So I don't know. So we just take life as it comes.
Okay, okay, that's a good attitude, I would say. I mean, and that you enjoy it. I am the same way as well. So I definitely enjoy that attitude for sure. So now here is Vidya taking care of her family, taking care of the kids. Then what happened? At what point writing happened to you?
I'll tell you. See, we moved around quite a bit, Ashish, because Murli, my husband, was in IT. So we were in Chicago first. We moved to LA, then we moved back to Chicago, then we moved to Pune, and then we moved to Charlotte. So it was. And the kids were still young. When I moved back to Charlotte the second time, 2012, then they were a little older. My daughter was in the seventh grade and my son was in the fourth. But
Mm.
before that, every move, they were still young. So getting them to adjust was my primary,
Right.
focus. Getting them to adjust to new places, new people, finding their schools, making sure that they're comfortable. I never interfered with the academics part of it.
Hmm.
So, but at least, it was more like making sure that um, they feel settled in a new place.
Right.
Um, and then what happened was when we moved back to Charlotte in 2012, it I had a it was not easy. I was nearing 40, and that was when it hit. Like when the kids were busy with their own thing. I had my father-in-law with me too. um, and it was at that time I realized that I need to do something more.
Mm.
uh, I have to do something more. And one day I still remember that day. Actually, I sat with the iPad because I thought maybe I should study something. And then when I sat with the iPad, I realized I don't know what to serve. Like, what do I like?
Right.
What do want to do? And I started actually crying, bawling. I was like, I've reached this phase. I'm very happy that I've been a stay-at-home mom, but I don't know what now, you know?
Oh, okay.
And then I thought, okay, and the urge, that it throughout my life, whenever things have been emotionally intense, there is this urge to write it down.
Oh, that you have already. So you have
Always had,
all the.
always had. Like my daughter had a
Oh,
surgery. My daughter had a surgery when she was 1, and that period was extremely intense too. So I wrote a lot to get over that. So it's been a natural healing process for me, I think, Ashi. So that urge to write it down. And then on my 40th birthday, I decided I need to do something for myself. Like 40 years, it's like it's a big thing, a big milestone. So I created the blog on that day and I posted my poem. Until then, I used to write just for myself, maybe share it with my mom and dad, with my husband, with my brother, but nobody, not too much beyond that. Whatever I wrote, um, but I decided to take the plunge and share it with everybody on my 40th birthday. So my blog was created on my 40th birthday, and I received again these friends. They started encouraging, you need to write more. It's beautiful. So I started writing. They started receiving it well. So it just, and then I joined a writers group here
oh,
in Charlotte, and they started encouraging me to send my work out for publishing, not just on the blog. They said send it out, and the first one got published in Chicken Soup for the Soul. So
oh.
from then onwards, it's been more than just a hobby.
Okay. So when you were writing in your blog, was it just your personal day-to-day experiences in
Yes,
life?
Ashish. Yes, because I write what touches me deeply. Then I have, I if very it's very I cannot just like some people. A lot of writers can write on anything, right? For me,
Hmm.
it doesn't come naturally like that. I have
Hmm.
to feel something. It has to trigger something within, and then I'm just able to write about it. So
Okay.
when you've not had much apart from being a stay-at-home mom, naturally you write about what you know, what you feel. So those form the initial experiences of my writing, the initial
So,
narrative of my writing.
so when you joined these writers group,
Mhm.
I'm assuming that you have all sorts of writers over there who
Yeah,
write on anything and everything, right?
yeah.
And here you are joining them where you are most of the time, I mean, in fact, all the time, you're writing your day-to-day experiences in life, right? So when you joined the writers group, what came to your mind? Like, did you continue doing the same thing with that group as well? Or did you change your writing at that point?
I didn't, Ashish, but I remember the first poem I wrote. It was on motherhood, and it was on letting go of my children. Letting go of my daughter because it was she would be leaving for college soon. So when I know that the women loved it, some of the men couldn't relate to it. They were like, "So what?" You know. So it was total chick lit, but maybe then I thought maybe I need to write about something else. So it was a monthly creative writing group.
Group.
Okay,
Okay.
so the first month I took this poem. Then I thought the next month when I got that feedback, I thought I didn't change my style, Ashish. I thought let me take something else that I've written. And I know that at that time I wrote a poem on my son and my father-in-law and the bond between them, because my father in law was over 80 then, my son was 8. So, two ends of the spectrum. But they
Right.
used to love doing things together and they used to love doing the same things. I mean, both love ice cream, both used to enjoy watching Gilligan's Island, and both used to, and the way they used to sit together and laugh, and the silly small
Right.
things that as adults we don't appreciate, but as children and as seniors,
You know, yeah.
that it matters, right? So when I
Right.
saw that, I felt like writing a poem. So I wrote one on that and I took that. And when I took that to the workshop the next week, one of them had tears in his eyes. One of the men, his name is Louis Smith, and he told me this should be a children's book.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's how the idea came. That's so he was the one. I did not think when I wrote the poem that it could be made into a book, but he was the one who sowed the seeds, and that's how the journey to being a children's writer author began.
So when did you write your first book that got published?
I wrote it in 2015 or 2016, but again the journey to publishing was long,
Long.
right?
Okay.
Because I didn't know anything about that industry.
Right.
You have to learn. It's a whole new world, and it's very dynamic, Ashish. Because with the way the internet is influencing our lives, the way digital media is
Hmm.
influencing our lives. Book publishing is not what it used to be when we were growing up, and it's
Right.
still changing compared to 2017 and compared to in 2020. There's so many changes. So I
Okay.
didn't know anything about that world, right? So it took me time. I didn't know. See, of course, growing up, when you hold those Enid Blyton and Secret Seven and all those books in your hand, and when you think, okay, I want to be an author, you want to be traditionally published. You want to see your books in different bookstores, and but that's not easy if nobody knows you, Ashish. Your writing may be good, but
Yeah.
no traditional publisher will want to invest money because they don't have money right now to invest on marketing you. So they
Mm.
rely on the author's platform, which is why you see that if you are very well known, you have a lot of followers, you are an expert in your field, whatever you write will be lapped up by them because that's just the way it is, right?
But don't you think that everybody has gone through that phase where it was your first time, and the first time is like, imagine if no publisher comes to you just because nobody knows you. How will anybody grow? How will?
You need no, you need to write connections, Ashish. It was much easier earlier, but
Okay.
right now it's not.
Okay.
Okay, right now it's not impossible, Ashish. There are these book conferences and all these webinars and all that, and they offer, like, you have to pay for them, of course, but then they give you an opportunity to offer to give your manuscript
Okay.
for critiquing, and if they like your work, then they'll take it. So I'm not saying it's impossible,
Okay. Okay. I
but
see.
it's not easy.
Okay.
It's
So the
certainly not
first
easy.
book that you wrote, tell us a little bit about the book and the content it has.
So it's a poem. It's written in rhyme, and it's about one day in the life of things that my son and my father-in-law used to do. Simple things in life: going out for a walk, looking at the spider web, looking at roses, watching the seasons change. You know,
Wow. Okay.
things like that. So simple. It's
And,
very simple
and book
things.
is one poem. Is that what
Yeah,
it is?
yeah. It's a small one. It's just
Okay.
24 pages, Ashish. It's not a big poem. And the other part of it is my one of my childhood friends, Sharon Dev. She illustrated the book for me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So see, that's another thing, and I think she's done a magnificent job, Ashish. Because I couldn't, as an author, to see your as a writer, to see your words come alive.
Right.
It's a very nice feeling, and
Yeah,
um,
it is.
she really did justice to it.
Right.
So
Okay. Okay. So, do you write only poems, or do you get into writing stories and other stuff as well?
I write a lot of essays, Ashish, and I have started writing stories. I do write stories too, but it's more the ones that have been published that I've sent out for publishing are more essays.
Essays. Okay. So
Yeah,
that is what you enjoy the most. Writing
that
essays
is
is
what
what.
I enjoy the most.
Most.
Yes,
Okay. So
yes,
now I wanted to come back to that part of your writing, wherein you mentioned that you also teach kids.
yeah.
So how did that start? At what point you felt that you should start doing that?
Teaching, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, Ashish, not before that. See, until from 2014 till see, I was learning so much about the craft myself. There is no, you cannot ever stop learning, right?
Mm,
And
agree.
I don't have an MFA or anything like that. So no background. So there
Mm,
is a lot to learn. Maybe
right.
there is something that comes naturally. Maybe I
Right.
am a natural storyteller,
Right.
and I can infuse a lot of emotions into my writing.
Right.
That's the strength. But other things, the technical aspects, there is so much to learn. And as I was learning all these things, I was like, I need to share it with
Mm,
kids, because it's been a lot of parents had begun to ask me if I could help their kids. So that's how I started, and I my goal is not. It's okay if they don't become authors or writers, but I want them to enjoy the process of writing, because writing turns away many kids now, Ashish, because there is so many more interesting things for them to do. So
mm.
I think just the thought, oh my God, I have to write, uh,
Yeah.
but they all are blessed with fantastic imagination. So I think if you kind of guide them towards it, um, they begin to enjoy it a lot more. So my writing classes are filled with a lot of exercises, creative writing exercises. I want them to not just think out of the box, but be comfortable with that, because I think the biggest problem that writers face is we all have that very strong inner critique, because when you're writing, you're bearing your soul, actually,
That is
Ashish.
true.
It's like,
Yeah.
uh, your deepest feelings are coming out on paper, and it's, if you share it, so many people know what you're thinking, and that is scary. And it's a very natural, I think, maybe an innate thing, like something that protects you, right? Like you have
Mm.
the fight and flight thing. Everyone has an inner critique, and when you write it, you're not sure, oh, what will people say, will they judge me? And
Agreed.
I want kids to break that barrier, like if they can write and be comfortable with who they are.
Right.
Yeah.
And you said it right. That's exactly the problem that a lot of people feel, that what will people think about what the way I'm writing it. Yeah, you're right.
Actually, to be a writer, you just need a paper and a pen, or a
Agreed.
screen, and you just have to type. But so many are afraid,
Right.
to
So
be.
coming back to your book, what was the name of that book? And if you can share that, I mean, if you have it in front of you, if you can share the book.
I do,
Uh,
I do.
yeah.
It's called The Adventures of Grandpa and Ray. Uh, yeah, so that is the book. And I mean, do you want me to read a little now from
Yeah,
it?
of course, that
Will
will be
that-
wonderful. Yeah. Yes,
Okay,
please. Please.
sure,
Yes, please.
Ashish. Sure, Ashish. So it's a poem. So I'm just going to read it to you. Grandpa and Ray were a happy twosome. To them, life was a joy, never tiresome. Not a moment in the day did they let slip away to enjoy little pleasures that life sent their way. Oft they would walk, hand in hand, on lush green grass or on grainy sand, and delight in the sensations that arose when they touched Mother Earth with their bare toes. Time stood still as they gazed in awe, as wondrous nature around them they saw, in shades of color from purple to teal, or ants that marched in rhythm with zeal. And Ashish, this is my one of my most favorite illustrations in the book. Uh, Grandpa and Ray, and they're watching the ants marching.
Wow. So you have art as well in your book.
Oh, I do, because it's a picture book, Ashish. So for children, I think children, that's how they begin to understand the world, right? Through pictures.
That's right.
So
That's right.
yeah. So
So,
it's a very important part.
so did you yourself draw these
No,
pictures?
no,
Okay.
no. This was my childhood friend who illustrated it for me. So
Oh,
every page has a picture, Ashish. Every page.
oh, actually, oh, very nice. Very nice. So she helped you with the picture part and you did the poem part.
Writing. Yeah, I did the writing.
That's very nice.
So
Okay.
that's what it
Awesome.
is.
So
So
how can people get this book? Is it available on Amazon or how?
it's available on Amazon, Ashish. It's available on Amazon. In India, we don't have it because Amazon in the US, they print it in the US, right? And they don't have tie-ups with printers in India. So we
Mhm.
don't have it on Amazon in India, but it's available in the US. In Amazon India, they need to contact me, and I can get the book out to them.
I see. Okay. Now, coming back to teaching kids, what kind of experience you have had when you have done that? Like, where do you think is the challenge, and what should parents do to help kids with reading and writing more?
That's a very good question, Ashish. I think the biggest challenge that kids face these days is they say we don't know what to write, you know, because
Mhm.
I think the thing is they're thinking so fast. That's the way the world is, and also because I think they're learning a lot visually now, right? Like everything's on the laptop, not just during the pandemic. I think even before the pandemic, because it's more exciting. I had written an article on gamification. Gamification is when you make everything into a game or an app.
Right.
So
Mhm.
the reason and the theory behind it is because you get instant gratification and rewards. Like when
Mhm.
you do something, you instantly know whether it's right, it's wrong, whether it's good or bad, whether you're progressing, and the human mind um, yearns for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so um, because they're so used to learning like that, and it's so much, I think I'm not sure how much of it they retain, but it's definitely more fun. right? For them, like things are happening more than just sitting and reading a book.
Right, right.
So
Okay.
they struggle. That's why I think kids struggle with just finding that time to just sit and read or write.
Right.
That so that is I think the biggest challenge for kids these days.
So how
It's not
about right? So how about when you come to the point where you are helping kids with essay writing
Mhm.
and they have not been as good as they should be in reading and writing from their childhood days. But now, because it's part of, I think, admission to the colleges where you need to have a good essays, how would you help those kind of kids to become a good writer? Because that's a challenge that you have, right?
There's Ashish, but there are tricks. I teach them techniques that will make their essays more effective.
I
How to add emotion, how to go deeper. So there are a lot of exercises, a lot of brainstorming that they have to do before writing their essay. Because what happens is if you see a prompt and you write, you can't think. You'll just write 4 or 5 lines, right?
Mhm.
But when you do those exercises and the brainstorming and you begin to think deeper and the memory starts surfacing up, you have a lot more material to work with. So
Mhm.
brainstorming is a very, very important part of essay writing.
I see. Okay. So now this was about writing. Tell me a little bit about reading. Like what this is my personal experience. I have seen a lot of people reading something, but having, I mean, you must have experienced this too. But after reading, some people say that, oh, they completely got lost in it because of the way the words were put, the way the sentences were. And at the same time, the same thing is being read by another person, and that person does not find anything unusual about it.
Yeah.
So, why does that happen, first of all?
I think that's your innate liking towards some topic, right?
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I cannot, on a personal level, I struggle to read books which have abuse,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
child abuse, and I cannot get beyond that part, Ashish. It
I see.
disturbs me immensely.
Okay.
um, so it's very hard for me to read those kinds. So I think that's okay, Ashish. Like even what I write, not
Mhm.
everybody can identify. I told you when I wrote about being a mom and letting my kids go, none of the guys could relate to it, and I think that's okay.
Mhm.
uh, that's why you have so many genres, so many different writers, and so many different. So just
Okay.
read, and I would say even for parents, if they can, it's okay for kids to read what they like. Not everybody has to read classics, right?
Right.
Maybe they can't identify with it, but they definitely, because I think we are so blessed compared to when I was growing up. There are just so many more books now
Right.
and so many different kinds. So pick
Okay.
something that your child likes.
Right. So now let's talk a little bit about comprehension. I know that when you are when you are writing, when you're reading a comprehension, basically based on what you are reading, you have to answer a few questions, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the format that I have understood over here in the US, the way the questions are put, it's
Mm-hmm.
actually testing the reader whether you are reading the question correctly or not. Because if you
Yeah,
read the question wrong, you get the answer wrong.
yeah.
And so many people who exactly know what they have read, but they will not answer it correct because they did not read the question properly. You
That's right.
understand? And that is where it's not that they don't know, it's basically about focusing on the question and trying to understand the question.
Yeah.
That becomes very challenging. And that is the skill that you need to develop, I believe, by reading a lot. I mean, I don't know,
Yeah.
you would know more. So I would
Yeah.
like you to talk a little bit about that.
I think reading is a very big part of doing well academically later on. I not just academically, Ashish. I mean, I think whatever line you go to, you constantly need to learn. You
Right.
have to develop, you have to grow, and to get information on growth is also you need to read and retain it, right?
Right.
So it is. I think the foundation begins in childhood, Ashish. Like I remember I didn't know it then because I loved books. I used to keep my daughter on my lap when she was 7 months old and read Dr. Seuss to her.
Mm.
But she's a very strong reader now. and both the kids. And I told you I did not do anything with them academically beyond reading to them
Mm.
when they were
Right.
very young. So I think from my experience, and now when I see kids, I feel the foundation is laid even before they are 5. If you can read to your kids, and when you read, I think, see, when they're very young, you can just read, turn the pages and read those simple little rhyming books, Dr. Seuss and all that. But as they grow a little older, if when you're reading the book, if you could, point to the pictures, ask the child questions, what does the child like about that picture? Because I think until what I know is until what I've seen is until the age of 8 or 9, kids are still they're stronger visually than being able to write well. You
Right.
know, so I think pictures are extremely important to help them comprehend. And I think as parents, if we can, while reading the book, talk to them about it, guide their rather than just blankly reading a book, if you could talk to them, ask questions, point certain things out to them, have
Mm.
conversations with them, that would help in the comprehension.
Right. Right.
uh, Unfortunately, I think it's not easy to become a reader later on. It's harder, Ashish. It's much harder.
It is.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the schools that they say bedtime story, 20 minutes of reading every day, I think that's really important. We may not realize the value, but because I have older kids and through experience, I can say that it did help.
It
It
did
really,
help.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, coming back to you teaching the kids again, do you do that online or is it only in person?
No, online only, Ashish. I used to do it in person before the pandemic, but the number of kids I was able to teach was much less then, right?
Okay.
Because at home I cannot have maybe 2 or 3 kids at the most.
Mhm.
But online, it's definitely grown a lot more, and you don't have to be in Charlotte. You can be anywhere.
The world. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So it's online now.
Okay. So what kind of students you have right now? Since you are doing this online, do you have students all around the world, or what does the number look like? What is
Around the US, not around the world, Ashish.
okay
Not
around?
actually, I have done workshops in India for kids in India, the essay
Ach-
writing workshops and all that, but it's not on a consistent basis, not yet. I will start, I think,
Okay.
because now I have a lot of material. I have something like a curriculum, but
Very-
right now I have essay writing changes. It continues like right from maybe March, April until the kids given their applications.
mm,
I have a varying number of kids. Some of them just want essay reviews. Some of them want guidance throughout.
Okay.
So that
Okay.
depends. But I don't take more than 4 or 5 kids for the one-on-one on that because it's a lot of time that I
Yes.
feel it's a beautiful process because I get to know the child. I mean, just like how when you interview, you get to know the person better. That's
Uh-huh.
what happens with me when I do the college essay workshops because the kids are talking to me about their deepest stories and about how they view the world, what matters to them, what they value. And I thoroughly enjoy that, Ashish.
Okay.
So, but
Okay.
I don't want to spread myself thin because if I take too many students, I don't think I will be doing justice.
Justice to them. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. So, do you have a website? How can students reach out to you?
I have a website, Ashish. It's called vidyarights.com.
Oh, okay. We can put that in this interview comments over here as well.
Sure.
We can do that later as well after the video is done.
No
So
problem.
that
No
is
problem.
not an issue.
Thank
Okay.
you,
So,
Ashish.
yeah. So we will do that actually. We will definitely do that. So now tell me, where does Vidya see herself? 5 years, 10 years down the line? What is your dream?
I think maybe you know what I wonder, but I don't have like one definite. I'm just letting things unfold the way they are because they're happening beautifully, Ashish. I know I do want to have a lot more children's books. I'm working on the second and the third manuscript right now, um, and I mean I'm very fascinated with energy healing and all those things. So at some point of time, I think I do want to. Become a meditation teacher also in addition to writing. So I want to have more books. I want to be able to help more students.
Okay.
And yeah, I just want to keep writing and writing and writing.
That was
So
a trick question, actually. I was asking you about planning when I know that you don't plan.
I mean, I don't, right? So yeah, I just let things unfold, and somehow I feel that if I do my best, I have a strong feeling that the universe kind of always brings things your way, opportunities, and um, you just have to grab them. And
Okay.
where that takes you, I don't have a say. It'll just happen when it happens.
Correct. So do you have something going on right now where you're working on something and you are basically on a day-to-day basis focused on that? Do you have something going on right
Yeah,
now?
I have my second and third children's book, Ashish, that I'm working on.
Okay.
Last week and all, I was also learning to build my website because it was a blog. I made it into a website. So I
Okay.
could add a lot more things that I'm doing
Okay.
than just it being a blog. So those were the things I'm learning. Um, Learning a lot about publishing and that industry. So,
Okay.
learning about craft, I've joined, like, if there are classes, workshops that other writers are doing, I make it a point to attend so that I hone my craft that way.
Right.
Uh,
That's
so
awesome.
this is an ongoing thing.
Okay.
So a
Okay.
lot of learning is what's happening also.
I see. Okay. We are very near to the end of this hour, and
Mhm.
I would like to let you decide if there is something that we would have missed in this interview, and you would like to definitely make sure that you send that message across. Then please feel free and let us know if there is anything that we should have
I'm
discussed.
just thinking, Ashish. Now, I think you've pretty much covered it all, Ashish.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted parents to know that they do have a big hand in getting their child to become good readers, initially.
Mhm.
And also, I think not to worry, not to take it as something that they need to get into college or for SAT, ACT, not at all. But it
Mhm.
just takes them into a beautiful world. And when they write, writing to me has been extremely healing.
Right.
Um, it's a way for me to discover myself.
Uh-huh.
So, a way to connect to myself and the world. And I think it's a beautiful gift that we can give children. And it's not necessary that they have to become writers or authors or,
Mhm.
publish, but just to enjoy that daily. I think when you write things down, it also gives you a lot of clarity.
Agree. Yeah. Mhm.
So
Right.
that's all
Right.
I wanted to say.
So one thing I still wanted to know that doing something like this, you need a lot of support from a lot of people to be able to do what you're
Yes,
doing, right?
yes,
Can you
yes.
mention? I mean, I'm sure your husband will be one of them, but
Mhm.
other than that, like, can you tell us a little bit about everyone who is important to you to let you do what you are doing and motivates you and encourages you?
I think all my friends, Ashish, all my friends, my family. See, also my kids, right? When you have teenage kids or older, they are the first people to tell you this is not right, that is not right, and things like that. So I always run what I write by them because I also write about them a lot, and I
I
don't want anything out there that they don't want, that they
see.
are not comfortable sharing.
Correct.
So they are my first editors,
Right.
and they're teaching me the techniques or the tools of social media too.
I see.
I'm
Okay.
learning a lot from them.
Okay.
So their support and friends. I have a friend, Surabhi Kaushik now, who is also a writer, and it's very nice to share that journey with somebody. And I cannot even begin to take names of other friends, Ashish, because I think everybody now, like, and now I have a group of friends, um, who, like, some of them are Tamilians, some of them are Bengali, some of them are Maharashtrians. Uh, no matter who they are and how I know them, some I know because of my dance, others I know because we've met when our kids have been working together in Science Olympiad, or their kids are the same age as mine.
Right.
They all have been so supportive, Ashish.
Right.
um, to it's just nice to know that you have people who will spread the word about what you do.
Right.
They send their kids to me for their kids have been my first students, so guinea pigs, right? And I've always been so thankful to them for that. So they give me feedback, they comment, they share my work. So whether it's Charlotte or Pune, I have a fabulous group of friends in Pune. Those 5 years that I was there in
Right.
Pune,
Right.
still very much in touch with all of them. And it's like anything you do, when you have people to say you rock,
Right.
and it's no big deal, Ashish. I'm just writing and I'm just doing what I love, and it's but it's inspiring people. And
That
uh,
makes a huge difference in your own life, right? The kind of satisfaction that you get just knowing that is huge,
yes.
right? Yeah,
So childhood friends, of course. So everybody, I would say,
agree, agree.
family too. My father-in-law, my parents,
Mhm.
very big supporters, Ashish.
Okay. So we have talked about all the supporters and people who help you and encourage you and motivates you. Who is your best critique?
My daughter.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay. So because you need to have somebody like that, right? Who can actually
Oh yeah.
not be, not think
Like,
about how would you feel and be very honest. Yeah.
yeah, my husband's very sweet. He won't really say anything.
Okay.
Maybe because of the repercussion that will happen later. I'm not sure, but he doesn't really say it. But my daughter has no forms of expressing how.
That actually helps, to be very
Yeah,
honest. Yeah, that's
yeah.
very nice.
And my son
Yeah.
too, to a great extent. Like my son is more mellow, so he will tell me nicely. But they will. The kids do. The kids do.
They do. They do. Yeah.
And
I mean,
my dad also, Ashish, like if something's not right, if I put something up, there's a spelling mistake or a typo or something doesn't make sense, he
right.
immediately lets me know. And
Okay.
I should say my brother too. My brother also,
Oh,
yes.
very nice. Okay.
So,
Okay. So
so
everybody helps you basically. I mean, and without their help, nothing was possible. So thanks to all of them, actually.
thanks to all of them, yes.
Yeah. So Vidya, we have come to the end of this super session that we had. I mean, I for sure definitely enjoyed knowing about you, knowing about your life journey, knowing about your writing, everything. So, and I'm pretty sure all our listeners and viewers would definitely, who were online already enjoyed it. But even those who missed it, I wanted to let them know that this video is going to stay on our Facebook channel as well as on our YouTube channel. So anybody at any point in time can come back and take a look at this conversation and take a look at your website, which we have. Your friend Surabhi Kaushik already mentioned the website in the comments.
Yeah.
So it's already there, and it is already there.
She's been a very big supporter, Ashish, and
Yes.
she calls herself my unofficial agent.
Yes, I mean, and you need those kind of people in your life. That's what, as you mentioned, that's what keeps you going. So we come to an end of this, Vidya. One last time, if there is anything that you want to say, and then we will end the session.
No, Ashish. I mean, would it be okay for me to read something though from
Uh,
what I've written?
yes,
Do you think
for
that's the time?
couple of minutes. Yeah,
Couple of minutes. Okay, let me just check, Ashish. If I have something really quick,
sure.
um, I mean, if you don't mind,
I don't mind at all.
um, okay, hold on. I'm sorry, I don't want to waste time. Okay, this one's called The Jacket. Okay, Ashish, it's about the love between the love that you share for animals.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to read the important part. On
Okay.
a on a blustery winter morning, I shuffle my booted feet and rub my gloved palms together as I
Uh-huh.
wait at the light rail station in uptown Charlotte. The
Mhm.
wisp of heat the friction generates does not appease my body, which yearns for warmth. Even under layers of warm apparel, I feel the frosty air seep in. The train arrives and I jump into the carriage to find a seat furthest from the door. I'm returning from a job interview that did not go well. Normally, the half-hour train ride to and from uptown to my house is when I catch up on my reading. Today, though, my body and mind need to thaw first before I can focus on the words of a page. After yet another failed attempt at procuring a job, my sunken spirit matches the low, dense air outside. I look around at the sea of people who enter the carriage after me and scramble to find spots. The huge tidal wave of scurrying humans subsides as most of them seat themselves, relief writ large on their faces. Those that don't find seats are grateful, just to be in a space away from the frigid temperatures and bone-chilling winds. Through a clearing in the crowd, I see an oversized woman on a chair, not too far away from the door. She must be cold. All she uses to cover up is a thin yellow sweater that she wears over a gaudy floral blouse and purple pants. Her sneakers look worn. She clutches a black drawstring bag in her bare hands that appear wrinkled and dry. She's probably homeless. How does she get by on days like today? As if she senses my prying eye, she turns to look at me, her expression stiff. Embarrassed, I force a smile and quickly look away. The train rides are often frequented by vagabonds. Maybe that is why I immerse myself in books, to avoid making eye contact with them. There is always an uncomfortable tussle in my heart when I happen to glance their way, a tussle that swings between wariness and compassion. There are some to whom life meets out an unfair hand. They deserve our empathy. But what if a few seek the easy route? What if the dollar I hand out to the disheveled man at the traffic signal is used to buy drugs? In that case, does the gesture of just a gesture of momentary kindness on my part, serve him or cripple him? I do not know. I pull out the book, The Life-Changing Magic of Marie Kondo, but my mind is drawn to the stranger in the wheelchair. I look up from the page at her, and she bends down to her side and pets her dog, a pit bull that sits beside her, a creature I did not notice earlier as I was busy trying to look away. The pit bull has on a thick olive jacket with faux fur around the hood. The buttoned-up jacket that is clearly made for women stifles his movements. He shakes with trepidation, like a crinkly leaf on a blustery day. He is bitterly cold and maybe anxious from the ruckus around him. The lady strokes his hair with great tenderness and whispers words that I cannot grasp amidst the noise in the train. It's okay, darling. It's all going to be fine, are what my heart says she utters. I watch their interaction spellbound. Tears well up in my eyes. In all probability, the jacket is her most prized possession. The rest of the treasure is in her drawstring bag. She loves her dog so deeply that she's ready to forfeit her own comfort for his. I understand. I have a dog of my own too, Leo. He is the child I've come to rely on to make me feel significant. On days like today, when I feel inept, inadequate, Leo's vehement licks and vigorous wags tell me I mean the world to him. I matter. The stranger is wise. She senses my penetrant gaze and looks at me again. Our eyes meet and our souls connect. We have both experienced unconditional love in this lifetime. I smile, a wholehearted smile that acknowledges her presence. She grins wide. Her mouth is missing a few teeth. Her eyes dance with warmth. The twinkle in them convey the message that this is all she wants. An acknowledgement from a fellow traveler that says, I see you. You matter. So,
Wow, that was wonderful, Vidya.
thank
Wonderful.
you.
What a wonderful way to end this session. Thank you very much, Vidya. And as I
Thank you,
mentioned,
Ashish.
yeah, we definitely, all of us enjoyed this session a lot. And good luck for your future endeavors as well. And we will keep in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ashish. Thank you. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, welcome and adab. You are listening to Bharat FM, a one-of-its-kind, multilingual, eclectic provider of entertainment, information and news to Indian Americans. Headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio, Bharat FM airs shows out of Cincinnati, Chicago and Phoenix. We take pleasure in our ability to cater to your bhakti, chusti, sphurti, shakti and masti needs with our audio and visual shows. Check out bharatfm.com for our online program schedule and archives. I'm sure the content will definitely tickle your senses. Tune in via the 24-hour web streaming on bharatfm.com or via the Bharat FM app. More information can be procured at 513-488-5070.
This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
ये है भारत FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा